Sweden, C418. If you've ever played Minecraft at any point in your life, you probably know this song. Heck, even if you've never played, or hell, if you've never even heard of Minecraft, you've probably heard this song before. Sweden is an iconic track due to how popular Minecraft is, and its soundtrack is. When you think of Minecraft's music, the first track that will most likely pop into your head is probably Sweden. Or Stall, I guess, but I'll come back to that one. If you've read the title of this video, you'll know what this video will be about. I want to go over all 15 music discs which can be collected in Minecraft and dissect and go over their strong suits, weak points, and overall memorability. I want to do all of this as objectively as possible, which might sound a bit counterintuitive, but I'll explain how I'm going to be doing that later. Even though this video will mainly focus on the 15 music discs, I would like to take a moment to discuss why the other tracks, the ambient music that plays while you play the game, are also amazing. Now, like I said at the start of the video, Sweden is probably the most well-known ambient Minecraft track there is, alongside Minecraft, the song, not the game. These tracks, alongside all of the other ones, are iconic, and there's one very good reason for that: nostalgia. Hearing that faint, careful, and delicate piano slowly creep in might fill you with the feeling of nostalgia. I can certainly feel it. This song, alongside most of the other tracks in the Minecraft Alpha playlist, will bring a lot of people back to when they first played the game. Most people, myself included, play Minecraft with the ambient music turned off. I prefer playing my own music, or putting on a YouTube video in the background to listen to while playing the game. I know a lot of people do this as well. That's why it might have been a while since you last heard this song. Does it fill you with nostalgia? Does it fill you with memories from your past? Well, that's what it does to me anyways. Whilst I was writing this script, I had the Minecraft Alpha playlist on in the background, and it was at this exact point that Wet Hands came on. And I'll admit, I cried a little. And there weren't tears of sadness, nor were there tears of joy. I was spilling tears over memories of a simpler time. A time when I was younger, and a time when life was easier. And I guess a time when I was happier. I miss being young, something I'm sure a lot of people also miss. I remember playing this game with my primary school friends after class. I remember playing on our survival land world, and I remember playing Egg Wars on CubeCraft. I remember moving on to middle school, at which point I stopped playing the game for a while. But I also remember picking it up again in order to play with my new friends. But I mostly remember that first house, and that first sound castle I built with my older brothers when I first played the game. I used to play a cracked version of Minecraft my oldest brother obtained from a friend, and I played that game to death. Before I used to play Minecraft on this now defunct website, Minecraft for Free. I'm sure some of you remember that one. I also remember playing alone. The quiet and somewhat lonely times. I didn't mind being alone. I didn't mind the quiet. That's what made the game so enchanting. That feeling of loneliness wasn't a bad one. It was a very unique, relaxing feeling that I honestly haven't felt in years. I don't think I'll ever feel that way again. That feeling almost always went paired with Minecraft's music. C418 did such an amazing job composing these tracks. They amplify Minecraft's themes of emptiness and loneliness so incredibly well, and this is what I'll be judging the 15 music discs on. Whether they amplify Minecraft's themes or not. Before we start, I want to make it very clear that I'll be putting these discs within their original context. For almost every single disc, that means I want to judge them based on their 2013 purpose, which is when most of them were released. I will be doing the same for the 3 newest discs, Pigstep, Other Side, and 5. You could say that this isn't entirely fair, seeing as how these 3 discs serve a different purpose and are supposed to deliver different feelings from the original discs, but it wouldn't be an accurate analysis if I didn't judge them on the same properties. I will be covering what their purpose is nowadays, but overall they'll be based on the exact same things that the other discs are based on. So, this analysis might not be perfect, but I hope you can forgive me for that. I'm going to tackle the discs in the order that they were released and in the order that they are listed in the Minecraft Alpha and Beta playlists. So now, let's get into it. Okay, so this means we'll be starting with 13. Yeah, so we all know 13. It's not great. If you've never taken the time to listen to 13, I wouldn't blame you. It feels as though this track was put into the game just to be spooky and mysterious. And well, mission success. This track is terrifying. I remember going through all of the discs when they were first released, and this track scared the socks off of me. There's not much else to say about 13 other than that it's creepy, and I would say that this track works as a Minecraft music disc. It's an odd one, that's for sure, but it does solidify the eeriness the game can sometimes have, especially back in Alpha, when the caves and nights were at their darkest, and you never knew what could be lurking in the dark. 13 perfectly captures the fear that I used to have of caves in Minecraft. Most sensible people probably don't like 13 as a standalone track, I don't either, but it is hard to deny that this track does work as a Minecraft disc, even if it is one of the weirder ones. Next up is Cat, which is a goddamn banger. Oh yeah! Okay, I'm sorry, I'll dial the enthusiasm back just a bit. Now, Cat is a breath of fresh air compared to 13. Whilst 13 was a frightening tune for the sake of being frightening, Cat is just a lovely tune that has the ability to lift your spirits with ease. Cat is one of the easiest music discs to obtain next to 13, seeing as how you obtain both discs in the same way, through dungeon chests. This means that Cat should be one of the most listened to music discs, seeing as how 13 is a complete and utter joke. Cat starts off with a funky tune with an all-round fun loop-to-listen melody. Some extra funk and spunk is thrown into the mix after a small while. This extra line of music adds a lot of extra flavor and transitions into this very mellow synth line. This line makes me feel quite happy and relaxed. It then transitions back to the upbeat synth line only to switch back once again to mellow mode after a bit. That's when the song ends, mellow and calming. Cat works very well as both a fun music disc and a calming music disc, and it is this balance between these two quite different purposes would give this disc its magic. And it is this balance which makes me love this track as much as I do. Before moving on to the next in-game music disc, I do quickly want to give a couple of notes on Dog, the scrapped alternate version of Cat. Dog is a lot funkier than Cat and it feels really silly, and I can see why the disc was scrapped, seeing as how it doesn't really fit in with the rest of the game, but I would have still loved to be able to listen to this track in-game regardless. I do genuinely like this track, and I think it's a shame that most players will have never heard and never will get to hear this track. Chirp is quite a wacky music disc, at least that's how it starts out. I highly doubt a lot of people have listened past the 1 minute and 10-second mark, which is when the song takes quite a turn. The song switches from a strange, quirky mess to a very mellow, quiet tune with a kind melody, which is honestly very pleasing to listen to. This song surprises me every time I listen to it because the start of it really throws me off. This seems to be a trend amongst most of the music discs. They start off one way and evolve into something completely different as the song goes on. I'll talk about this recurring theme later. Chirp definitely meets all of the required themes. It's quirky and happy, and it's mellow and sad. But it's very basic, and it doesn't execute these themes very well. So, all in all, quite alright. So, I'll just say this. Chirp weird, but also good. I think that describes it quite well. Wait. Wait is my favorite music disc. Straight up. What I'm about to say might be a bit biased, but I'll try to stay as objective as possible. I find Wait to be incredibly charming and sweet. It's funky, it's funny, but it's also very sentimental to me. Wait also has quite a few different phases. It starts out with a very fun, uplifting tune which is genuine music to my ears, after which it also switches to a very mellow, almost sad melody. It isn't sadness I feel, however, it's nostalgia, again, and a strange feeling of satisfaction, as if everything will somehow be alright. After which it quite abruptly changes back to its original funky tune. All in all, I really like this disc. I believe it truly captures Minecraft's essence in its nostalgia, allness, fun, cheer, and calmness. But this still isn't the best music disc Minecraft has to offer, however, so let's continue. I will keep this very, very short. I don't like Melowy, and I doubt anyone actually does. I don't know why it's here, I don't want it here, let's please just move on already. Yeah, so, Stall. I feel like everything has already been said about Stall. It has to be one of the most discussed music discs out of all of them, because of people like JSchlatt. I like the start, but that's about it. The second half is absolute unironic garbage. The second half is played on a recorder which could never even sound good, and it doesn't. It doesn't even really touch upon any of Minecraft's key themes. It's just a weird disc, I think for the sake of being weird, much like 13 was eerie for the sake of being eerie. It's not bad, but it doesn't really serve much of a purpose other than just being there as a bit of a joke. So, next. Sadly, I also don't have a lot to say about Strad. Strad is a pretty okay song. Most of the song is played on steel pan, which I find to be a very nice instrument to listen to. The synth lines, which play throughout the song, add quite a bit of extra flavor, but they can be a bit much in my opinion. The song is very inoffensive. It's fun, it's acceptable, nothing special, but certainly not bad. I will say that it touches upon some of Minecraft's themes here and there, but nothing too special. It's a bit quirky, it's a bit mellow, it's fine, it's acceptable. Like I said, very inoffensive, but not a bad song. I was only going to briefly mention 11, seeing as how it is a music disc, but not really a music disc. But as it turns out, there is an actual version of 11 in the Minecraft Volume Beta playlist. It is a very slow, quiet, and sad tune, and honestly, I kinda like it. It is as if this is the original record, which someone used to store their own audio, almost like re-recording on a CD or DVD disc, overlapping the two. 11 in-game is still interesting, even if it's not an actual song. It adds some storytelling to the game, which, while cryptic, is still intriguing, and I guess it gives people like MatPat from Game Theory something to do on their day off. Ward is another disc that I never really listened to in-game, mostly because the intro is quite long and boring. The rest of the song is fun. It's an electric, upbeat tune which sounds decent, but it absolutely does not fit Minecraft's vibe at all, which brings its overall placement down quite a bit. Once the main song starts, it doesn't change either. The theme and general feeling of the song stay the same, which certainly doesn't make it a bad song, it just means it's a bit uninteresting. A bit boring even. If you do like Ward, I don't blame you. But is this one of the better discs in the game? No, I wouldn't say so. Maul is actually a lot more like the other discs, unlike Ward. The song has a calm and chill melody and is played mostly on marimba. The song starts slow but picks up in pace quickly. It is honestly a very nice song to listen to. This disc fits well with Minecraft's overall theming. It's mellow, it's calming, it's relaxing, and it gives you a slight sense of awe and maybe again, loneliness. It brings you to the realization that is this just you in this ever-expanding world, and it tells you that that's okay. You're here, you're alone, but you can still have fun. Apart from that, the song is actually quite catchy. It has a funky feeling to it near the middle and at the end of the song, which also makes this track one of the better ones. This chiptune song is another rather wacky one. Blocks starts out with a funky beat, which I would assume isn't to everyone's liking. The instruments used and the overall melody feel very chaotic, and aren't that fun to listen to. Unless of course you're into this kind of music, which is totally fine as well. After a small while, however, the song also transitions into a slower, sadder tune, after which the chiptune melody returns. At around the 3-minute and 20-second mark, the chiptune melody leaves for good, seeing as how it turns into yet another mellow melody. This is the part of the song I love the most. This part of the song uses bells and a much more calm chiptune melody. And this part of the song also captures that essential Minecraft feeling, a bit hollow and sad, but Blocks delivers this feeling alongside a lot of joy and happy sounds. Blocks is an overall lovely disc. I don't think the start works that well, but the latter half is another slam dunk. Now we get into the newer discs, both of which were composed not by C418 but by Lena Raine. He is a professional composer and has made soundtracks for games such as Celeste. I actually really like Celeste's soundtrack, so I might make that into a video someday as well. Now, Lena Raine's additions to the Minecraft soundtrack are also straight bangers. Now we'll start with Big Step, which is a sort of hip-hop song with hints of dubstep sprinkled throughout. This song is much different than the songs composed by C418, but it certainly isn't bad. This song is supposed to be a much different experience, seeing as how it is the only nether disc, and you can tell. This music is much different from everything we've talked about prior to this. I find this disc to be much harder to talk about as well, seeing as how there are a lot of difficult elements here, and I'm no music expert. So I'll simply talk about some of the easier aspects, such as the more mellow parts of the song which pop up here and there. These bits provide a small break from the onslaught of hip-hop beats, which is quite nice. There's also a long part of the song which adds more melody. This takes place around the middle of the song, and this section is by far my favorite. That's mostly because I personally really value good melody in music. This song slaps overall, but I'm actually not going to be placing it that high on the overall ranking. Now please, don't start roasting and hating on me in the comments just yet. I get it, okay? I would just like to remind you that this ranking is based on what the best music disc is in relation to Minecraft's themes, not necessarily what the best sounding music disc is. This song is really catchy, and I really enjoy it. It works well with the Nether's more chaotic and often stressful nature, but even then, it doesn't really capture the eerie side of the Nether very well, and that's what brings it down for me quite a bit. Now, before I get lynched, let's just move on to Lenarain's second disc, Otherside. Otherside is a much more retro-style song, which I also really like. I think I even prefer Otherside to Pigstep. Both are certainly good in their own right, but my personal preference goes out to Otherside due to its more defined melody. Speaking of said melody, the song is more upbeat and less intense than Pigstep, which I also really appreciate. The first half of the song sticks to the same repetitive melody which slowly builds. After a while, a trumpet line gets added to the song which adds a bit of quirk and spice to the song. After the halfway mark, the song slowly starts to transition into a slightly dark and more depressing tune. This is very similar to a lot of the original music discs. This part of the song, however, differs from what the original music discs do right, and that's theming. The second half is certainly different from the first half, but instead of evoking a sense of emptiness or loneliness, it evokes dread and a strange sense of confusion. I think these themes line up very well to the deep and dark caves which were added in the same update as the disc, which is certainly interesting, but it again doesn't really line up with Minecraft's core themes. I believe that this disc is a very good reflection of the feelings and themes that are present in the new 1.18 caves, a sense of awe and wonder upon seeing the big and beautiful caves, especially the lush caves, but also feeling the dread and eeriness of the darkest caves, and also the Deep Dark, which will be added in 1.19. This is why I believe Otherside works better than Pigstep. It accurately reflects the themes of the aspects of the game that it should describe. Rain could have maybe added some aspects of Minecraft's general theming, but apart from that, this song works really, really well. I also like the song in general, just to put that out there once more. The most recent disc to be added to Minecraft as of the time that I'm writing this is 5. Disc made by Samuel Ohlberg. This disc is just like 11 in the sense that it doesn't actually contain any music but tells a story using audio. That's why I'll keep it short here by saying that my opinion of this disc is exactly the same as 11, except for the fact that this disc does not have an actual version on Spotify. What a disappointment. Well, I guess that's all of them. Now I'll move on to the official rank. Right. I guess there is one disc that I haven't actually mentioned yet. Far holds a very special place in my heart. I remember when Volume Beta was first added to the game, we suddenly had a whole bunch of new discs to try out, and amongst them was Far. This disc brings back a whole slew of memories whenever I listen to it, and you could and probably should blame bias for that. While it is true that I hold a lot of nostalgic value to this music track, I have a feeling that that is because of the way this song is constructed. This song is very calm and mellow, more so than any of the others. This song is made up of different relaxing synth lines which all come together in order to build a very peaceful atmosphere. The calmness and relaxing aspects have already been met, but what really knocks the song out of the park is the echoing of the synth lines. This echo adds that aforementioned feeling of emptiness and stillness to the already existing themes. Far manages to combine all of the different themes into the same parts of the song, whereas all of the previous tracks would have one part of the song that was fun and exciting, and one part that was sad and empty. These themes work together very well, which is why they work so well for the game itself, but when all of these themes are combined in a song, they build on each other and they make each other more pronounced. Now, the last quarter of the song is slightly different than the rest of it, however, seeing as how new instruments are added, which adds just an extra tad of intrigue. The end of the song is shockingly good as well. The song slowly starts building down and fades out, leaving you with a very sad but also reassuring calm feeling. This song feels like Minecraft to me. Maybe this whole section is completely based on nostalgia and I'm just noticing things that aren't really there. Well, if that's the case, then so be it. I love this track with all my heart and I'm definitely giving this the #1 spot. As for that ranking, here it is. Please remember that this is the ranking based on what discs I believe fit best with Minecraft's core themes and emotions. So, pause the video, have a look at it, I'll move on to the next one in a bit. This here is the ranking I made based on what discs I think are best just based on music. This one is completely based on my own thoughts and opinions, so do with it what you want. Well, I guess that's the end of it then. Maybe you'll agree with what I said, maybe you won't, maybe you don't care. At the end of the day, it was just fun to be able to talk about these music discs in detail. I love this game, and I love the music that it has. The music adds so much to the game, especially the ambient music, which I barely even touched upon. I probably won't ever make a video about the ambient music because there's just too many tracks and it would require me to get into way too much music theory. I know this is a very different type of video than the ones I usually make, so let me know if you like this format of video. I'd certainly like to make another video just like this someday. For now, I would like to thank you so much for watching, and stay positive.